There's a moment that happens quietly, usually sometime after 30, where you realize something has shifted. You used to love going out, the noise, the people, the energy. But now, when Friday night rolls around and someone asks if you want to go out, something inside you whispers, "I'd rather stay home." And for the first time, you don't feel guilty about it. You feel relieved. The world calls this antisocial, boring, a waste of your life. But what if staying home isn't about hiding from the world? What if it's about finally coming home to yourself? Let's start with something most people won't tell you. The moment you walk through your front door and close it behind you, something changes. The noise stops. The performance ends. The mask comes off. Suddenly everything is just right. You don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to smile when you don't feel like it. You don't have to be on. You can finally exhale. This is what mature people understand. Home isn't just a place. It's a nervous system reset. It's where your soul stops performing and starts recovering. Because here's the truth. The older you get, the more you realize that most of what's out there, the parties, the crowds, the endless socializing, it's exhausting. And not because you're weak, because you finally learned to protect your peace. Think about it. When you're young, you're told that life happens out there, that if you're not constantly moving, doing, being seen, you're missing out. But then you live long enough to realize that motion isn't meaning, noise isn't connection, and being surrounded by people doesn't make you less lonely. In fact, some of the loneliest moments happen in crowded rooms. Mature people have learned this the hard way. They've been to the parties where no one really saw them. They've had conversations that felt like performances. They've spent energy on people who didn't reciprocate. And at some point, they stopped. Not because they gave up on life, because they realized that real life, the kind that actually nourishes you, doesn't require an audience. Here's what staying home really means. It means you've curated a space that reflects who you actually are. Every book on that shelf, every piece of art on the wall, every small ritual you've built, morning coffee in your favorite mug, the way the light comes through that one window. These aren't just things. They're anchors. They're proof that you know yourself well enough to create a world that feels like you. And that takes years. Young people are still figuring out who they are. They need external validation. They need to be seen. But mature people, they've done the work. They don't need strangers to confirm their worth. They've built a life that feels good from the inside out. And once you have that, why would you trade it for noise? Now, some people will say, but don't you get bored? And here's the truth. Boredom is what happens when you don't know how to be with yourself, when you need constant stimulation because silence feels uncomfortable. But people who love staying home, they're never bored because they've learned to listen to the rain, to music, to their own thoughts. They've learned that presence is richer than distraction, that depth beats noise every single time. And let's talk about energy, because this is where maturity really shows up. When you're younger, you think you have endless energy. You can stay out late, wake up early, run on fumes, and do it all again the next day. But as you age, you realize energy isn't infinite. It's precious. Every interaction costs something. Every environment either drains you or fills you. And mature people have become very selective about where they spend their energy. Going out means navigating other people's moods, loud music, bright lights, small talk with people who don't really care, traffic, parking, spending money you worked hard for. And for what? A few hours of overstimulation followed by days of recovery? No thanks. Home offers something better. Peace, control, comfort, and the freedom to do exactly what you want without justifying it to anyone. But here's where it gets deeper. Staying home isn't just about avoiding the world. It's about protecting something sacred, your inner life. Because mature people understand that the most meaningful parts of life happen quietly. The thoughts you think when no one's watching. The creativity that flows when you're alone. The healing that happens in silence. These things don't translate to social media. They don't get likes, but they're what actually matter. Think about the people who post every moment of their lives online. The vacations, the parties, the perfect dinners. It looks full from the outside. But often, the more someone performs their happiness, the less they actually feel it. Mature people have stopped performing. They've realized that the best moments, the ones that fill your soul, don't need an audience. A quiet morning with coffee and sunlight streaming through the window. A book that changes how you see the world. the comfort of knowing every corner of your space. These are the riches no one talks about. And yes, there's a balance. Staying home shouldn't become hiding. Solitude is healing, but isolation can become a trap. The key is this: if you're staying home because you're healing, recharging, choosing peace, that's wisdom. But if you're staying home because you're afraid, because you've stopped growing, because you've given up on connection, that's when you need to check in with yourself. Step outside sometimes, not because you have to perform, but because the world still has beauty to offer. Sunlight, a walk in nature, a conversation with someone who actually sees you. The difference is intention. Are you retreating to heal or hiding to avoid? Are you choosing solitude or has solitude chosen you? Mature people know the difference. They stay home not because they hate the world, but because they've learned to love themselves. And that's not loneliness, that's freedom. So if you're someone who loves staying home, know this: you're not missing out. You're tuning in. You're not antisocial. You're selectively social. You're not wasting your life. You're protecting your peace. And in a world that constantly demands your attention, your energy, your presence, choosing to stay home is one of the most mature, most revolutionary things you can do. Because home isn't just where you live, it's where you finally stop pretending. It's where your nervous system feels safe. It's where you remember who you were before the world told you who to be. And that's not boring. That's sacred. If this resonated with you, you'll want to see what we uncover next. Subscribe so you don't miss it. We explore the kind of psychology that actually explains you.